Everyone wants more money, but most of us weren't taught how to create an abundant life. That's where the More Money Show comes in. If you're ready to have more money, create more freedom, and experience more fun, turn the volume up. It's time to learn how to create the prosperity and life you have been dreaming of. Here's your host, Cassie Parks.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of The More Money Show. I am your host, Cassie Parks, and I'm excited to be with you today. We're continuing story time with the final 3 chapters of Change Your Money Story. If you want to get a copy of the book to, just dive deeper into or be able to highlight and mark up whatever you want, you can go to changeyourmoneystorybook.com and get your own copy. For those new listeners, welcome. I'm excited that you are here, and make sure you go back in the archives and just check out all the things that we do on the More Money Show, because I like to change it up. I do things a little bit differently. I always follow inspiration. That is what I have learned works best in my business, and I still highlight all those things that I do on my business journey for you listeners, because that's where this podcast started, about creating the happy ever after that was the business that you dreamed of. And it sort of morphed and evolved, and now we're doing story time, which is what this episode and the previous 3 episodes have been about. And also, I'm sharing stories of my clients that have been successful so that you can increase your belief in what's possible, and also, learn from them, because we learn from each other. And I have one journey and one story. And while it is amazing and I love it, and there's so much that I can teach you from that journey, what I have learned and the gift of being a coach and getting to do this for the last 5 years is that first of all, we're talking about money stories. So there's all these different money stories, and I don't have all 5 money stories. So all 5 of these stories don't play out. I don't have stories for each one of them. I haven't overcome each one of them and written a new story, because you can't have all of them, which I will often hear people say, I have a little bit of all of them, which is normal. Like, some people are like, oh yeah, that's me. But usually you can pick yours out. And so if you don't know your money story, go back 2 episodes. I believe it's 135, and you will be able to hear about all of the money stories, or go to changeyourmoneystorybook.com and make the small investment and grab your copy. Figure out what your money story is, because when you know your money story, you become aware of what you're doing. You can see the behaviors that are a result of that story. And I always say, it's not more money that makes a difference. It's writing a new story. You can get all the money in the world. I talked about this in chapter 3. More money doesn't change everything. Often it makes it worse, right? You can see this in lottery winners who 70%, not just lottery winners, but 70% of people who get a big windfall of money, it's gone within 5 years. So more money isn't the answer. It's writing a new, better story, which is why I'm excited to read to you chapters 5, 6, and 7 today. I'm also super excited because I just had a big inspiration. And it's been coming for a while. So if you follow me, and I follow Inspired Action, I teach based on the law of attraction and how we create our dream lives, by changing who we are and becoming who we want to be. And I had an idea. It was probably like 6 months ago, and I kind of wanted to do it, and it didn't have the oomph. It didn't have the momentum. It didn't have the sizzle, right? And so I just said, I'm not doing it, because I know better. Like, if the sizzle fizzles, it's not inspired, right? But that doesn't mean it's going to go away forever. And so it's been just sort of in the back of my mind, is like, this would be fun. If inspiration hits, I'm open to it, right? And it just hit. So something really cool is going to go on November 1st in celebration of, it'll be 5 years since I walked out of my corporate job for the last time. And I remember walking out, and I knew I could make it, right? And I had set myself up, because this is who I am. It's who I had become. I had set myself up so that I had all of these ways to make it. I had enough passive income to pay my bills. I had the amount of money in my bank account that made me feel safe, that I could also pay my bills for 2 years with that money. I had done all the things right. And yet there was this part of me. I knew I was going to do it. I knew I could do it. But there's that part that's like, but I don't know how it's going to work out. And I'm just going to keep moving forward and believing that I'm going to keep doing this. And I just followed inspiration. And here it is almost 5 years later. I love what I do so much. I feel so honored. I'm recording this today, which is story time for you all and my listeners and my fans. And, reading to a book that is really the culmination, like it's everything that I've learned in the last 5 years, and I love it. And I just got done interviewing a client for the 2019 Year of Growth series who's manifested over $42,000 in 6 months. And I get to support people doing that. Like, that's my life. It's awesome. And I love it. So I'm super excited to give you all an opportunity. I'll give you a little hint. If you've ever wanted to work with me, definitely pay attention to the podcast next week. And if you are not on my email list, I would go to identifyyourmoneystory.com, sign up for the free download so that you're on my newsletter list. You're in my tribe and you're in the know and you know what's happening, because I have something really cool that I'm going to do to celebrate that 5 years. 5 years I left my job. So all that is possible because I learned how to write a money story that supported the life I wanted to live. If you've been here for very long, you know that my money story at one point didn't support the life I wanted to live. And it was really, truly learning how to write the money story and step into the person living that story. How to write the money story of the life I wanted to live. That made all the difference. It made it possible for me to walk out of my corporate job for the last time almost 5 years ago. So let's get started with story time. Again, I am reading you my latest book, Change Your Money Story. If you want your own copy, you can go to changeyourmoneystorybook.com and grab yourself a copy. If you've missed or you're just joining us, welcome. I've read chapters 1 through 4 on the previous 2 episodes, so you can check those out when you want. You can either pause right now and go back to those episodes or listen to this and then go back. We are starting on chapter 5, which I love. It's called Pull Out a Blank Page, How to Write a New Money Story. At this point, you've identified your money story. You understand that more money isn't going to change your story and that you picked up your story by default. It's not something you chose consciously. And now that you know all this, let's talk about how to write a new money story. You might think you should start by looking at your current money story and trying to fix everything about it. If you've been in the self-development world, you might start looking for all the limiting beliefs in your current money story so that you can change them. Or you might want to really dive into the last chapter about how your money story was created and go back and analyze what your parents said about money and understand why you have the money story you do. You and I are going to do something different. First, let's talk about trying to fix your current money story. Your current story wasn't written for success. It was written by default. You picked up a bunch of different feelings and thoughts about money, and they all mushed together into a story. That's the story you have been living over and over again, no matter how much more money comes into your life or how many good intentions you set about saving more or spending less. The best way to write a new money story is to pull out a blank page so that you can create a story that feels good, is in alignment with your financial goals, and more importantly, is designed to support the life you want to be living. So now, you might want to make a list of your limiting beliefs so that you can change them in order to write a new money story. Stop right now. That isn't going to create a better story. The reason it won't is because as long as you keep believing you have to fix your limiting beliefs in order to have a better money story, your brain is going to support that. What I mean by that is that if you ask your brain to find your limiting beliefs about money, it will, because that is what you asked it to do. And it will continue to come up with limiting beliefs as long as you are asking. When you do that, it keeps your focus on what isn't working, and you're going to get more of that. The best money story involves powerful beliefs about money, and you do not have to fix your current beliefs to take on a new, powerful one. I learned this through experience. One of my limiting beliefs about money was that you had to work really hard for money. Before I figured out how to simply write a better story, every time money wasn't flowing into my life the way I wanted to, I would go looking for limiting beliefs to fix in order to get what I wanted. After about the 10th time of the same belief coming up, I realized it was always going to come up. If I wanted a new belief, I had to create one instead of trying to fix the existing one. Once I stopped looking for limiting beliefs and started creating beliefs that supported the money story and life I wanted to be living, money became easier. More of it showed up, and I started fast tracking my financial freedom. I started choosing to write the money story I wanted to be living every day, and every day the story became more and more true. Going forward, you have permission to never look for or examine a limiting belief again. It's worth reading twice. Going forward, you have permission to never look for or examine a limiting belief again. And coming up, I'll walk you through how to create new beliefs instead of fixing your limiting ones. The final thing you might be tempted to do in order to try and fix your current money story is figure out where it came from. You might want to look back at life and analyze everything your parents said or didn't say about money. You might want to look for a story like Maggie's with the envelopes so that you understand why your story is what it is. You don't need to do that, and in fact, it won't help. The more time and energy you put into trying to figure out why your story is your story, the more time and energy you are putting into creating more of your current story. Then, when you figure out where your money story came from, you are likely going to want to explain it to 1 or 10 or 100 people. The story you tell today is the life you will live tomorrow. The more you tell your old money story, the one that is true today, or the stories about how it was created, the more you will experience that old story in your current life. It often feels good to understand why. Why did this happen? Why am I this way? Why has money always felt so hard for me? But understanding isn't going to move you forward. Trying to understand keeps you stuck where you are. It's really a choice. Do you want to understand why your money story is the way it is? Or do you want to write a money story that supports the life you want to be living? It's a choice you might want to make right now, because making the choice will make it clear to your brain what you are doing and where your brain should focus its energy. What about Maggie? She understands where part of her story came from, and that must be such a relief. Yes, it was cool to realize. But Maggie didn't dig for the envelope story in the beginning. It popped into her head after she had been living her new money story. And yes, it was interesting to understand part of how her just enough story was created, but she was able to change her story without knowing or understanding where it came from. It's interesting, and it helps with understanding when you figure out why you have the money story you do, and it is not essential for writing a new money story. The best stories are written on a blank page. That's what I am going to teach you how to do. When writing a new money story, doing so on a blank page means leaving behind everything about your old story. How do you do that? After coaching thousands of people to change their money story and welcome more money into their lives, I realized the best way to write a new money story is to have an intention that you can grow into. I use the word intention rather than goal because intention means a determination to act. When you write a new money story, you become the main character. You have to start thinking, believing, and acting in the manner the main character of your kick-ass money story would. When you're fixing a story, you are constantly trying not to do things. When you write a story, you are going to be stepping into character mode and doing things the character of your new money story would. You want to become the person who is living the story you are writing. Having an intention for something that you are going to work toward creating allows you to see opportunities to uplevel your beliefs and to make choices about how you are going to act when it comes to money. The 5 steps to writing a new money story are: set an intention, focus on the feeling, celebrate, pay attention to what's happening so you can acknowledge and edit in the moment, and write your new story from success. The first step is setting the intention for an amount of money to manifest into your life. That means an amount of money showing up that you didn't know was coming or even how it was coming. For years, I've done this in my course, Manifest 10K. People come into the course with the intention to manifest $10,000 in 90 days. Over the course of the 90 days, I guide them through a series of assignments to support this manifestation. For you, so that you can start writing a new money story on your own, I'm going to have you focus on having $20 show up in your life in the next 3 days. Right now, simply set the intention that $20 is going to show up in the next 3 days. You can say out loud or write down, when it's safe, $20 shows up on or before. Insert the date 3 days from now. Why $20? The mistake most people make when they try and change their money experience is that they go too big too fast, and then nothing changes. After setting a big goal, like to become a millionaire, they start taking action depending on their money story. Those actions are more of the same. If you're a money chaser, you come up with 10 new ways to make money. If your story is just enough, you might start saving, but something happens to take up that savings and you give up. If you're a hot mess, you might try to learn how to become a millionaire, but you won't take action. If you're survival, you'll come up with a really big dream, go all in, work until you're exhausted, and then fizzle out. And if you're hold tight, you'll try to find more ways to cut out things you enjoy. Eventually, the plan crumbles and you give up because nothing moves forward. The same happens when someone decides they're going to get on a budget. It's because there is no goal, nothing pulling you forward. A budget generally restricts, and you will likely resist the restriction and then start sabotaging it based on your money story. Setting the intention for more money to come into your life creates that pull to start things shifting and changing. It also lets you look at yourself during the experience and change your thoughts and habits to line up with your intention. $20 in 3 days is perfect because it's enough that you're not sure how it's going to show up. It's also big enough that you will notice when it shows up. 3 days is a good time because it's not so long that you'll forget, and it's just long enough that there is enough space for the universe to do its magic. It will also keep you focused. Small shifts write big money stories. So the amount doesn't matter as much as the time, as the awareness the amount brings to your thoughts, beliefs, and opportunities to write a new money story. The money is just a way for you to see what's happening so you can choose to write your money story consciously and adapt new thoughts and beliefs as necessary. The next step is to focus on feeling how you're going to feel when the money shows up. Generally, it's not really the money you want. It's what the money can buy and how you will feel when you have it. Or it's how it makes you feel to have it on you or in your bank. When you buy something and you feel excited or happy, that's really the reason you want the money. Or if it makes you feel safe to have a lot of money in the bank, that's why you want to save. Underneath the desire for money is a desire to feel a certain way. In chapter 3, we talked about how money doesn't make you happy. That's another reason it's important to figure out how you're going to feel when you have the money. Then you can feel that way now, and you're not waiting on the money to make you feel that way. If you're looking to create more money so that you can be happier, you'll want to figure out a way to feel happier now. When you feel how you are going to feel when you get what you want, but before you get it faster. Let's use happy. If you're going to feel happy when you have more money, then feeling happier before you get the money will help the money show up faster. When $20 randomly shows up in your life today, tomorrow, or the next day, how are you going to feel? Happy, excited, powerful, calm? Identify how you are going to feel, and then make a list of 5 ways you can activate that feeling each day for the next 3 days. It doesn't have to be hard. These are easy things you can do. Maybe your feeling is happy and watching cat videos makes you feel happy. Write down, watch cat videos for 5 minutes. Sometimes the activity can simply be sitting still or going for a walk. Maybe checking in with a friend makes you happy. Nothing has to cost money or take a lot of time. These are simple, easy things you can do, likely in 5 minutes or less, that activate the same feeling you're going to have when $20 randomly shows up. Mark some times in your calendar or set an alarm on your phone so you can activate what I call your abundance feeling 3 times a day for the next 3 days. Yes, start today as soon as you finish reading this book. When you are consciously activating your abundance feeling, there is less space to feel anything negative about money. It's a sneaky way to infuse your new money story with the feelings you want to have instead of those in your current story. Instead of fixing, you are writing in the blank space. You are writing by being and experiencing this part of your story now. Now that you have identified your abundance feeling, put it on your calendar. Let's talk about collecting evidence. Evidence in this case is anything that indicates what you want, what you intended, your $20, it's on its way. It can be a sign that says $20 off. It can be small change you find on the ground. It can be seeing a $20 bill in your wallet. It can be someone mentioning $20 or even just the number 20. It's anything and everything that you can see as an indication that you get what you want. When you see evidence show up, celebrate it. Celebrating is one of the most powerful things you can do. When you celebrate and you look for reasons to celebrate, you create more reasons in your life to celebrate. The more evidence you celebrate, the more evidence you will see. Collecting evidence is a way to start wiring your brain to believe that you get what you want. When you see things that indicate what you want is on its way and you celebrate it, you're telling your brain that what you want is happening. By doing that, you are starting to write a new story automatically. It's one of success, expectation of good things, and of course, experiencing more money in easy ways. As you start collecting evidence of the good stuff, you also want to pay attention to what else is happening. The thoughts that might not be so positive, or the feeling that you need to do something to make this happen, or the desire to figure out all the ways $20 could show up. When you're waiting for your magical $20 to show up, it's important to know how you feel and what you're saying to yourself along the way. The place I see most people miss the mark when they are trying to change their money story is that they focus on what isn't working. I have too much debt. There's not enough money. I was never taught how to do this. My mom was never good with money. Typical wisdom says to fix all those thoughts so that you can attract more money. What I have seen work better is to decide you are going to attract more money. In this case, your $20, and then to shift and change your thoughts as stuff comes up. As the thoughts I mentioned above might be true, but fixing them might not necessarily change your money story. That's because when you are fixing them, you are editing your current money story instead of writing a new money story. Setting the intention to attract $20 puts the pen in your hand to start writing a new money story. One key to writing a new money story is to leave out the stuff that you don't want to be true. For most people, about 12 hours after they set the intention to manifest $20, they start wondering where it is or why it hasn't shown up differently. When you do this, you are telling yourself it isn't working, and then your brain fills in behind that with all the negative beliefs you have about money and your ability to create and keep it. This is a moment when you want to make sure you keep a firm grip on your pen and the story you are writing. When you notice yourself saying things like, "Why hasn't my $20 showed up yet?" or "It's not working," take a deep breath and remind yourself it's coming. It might sound strange, but reassuring yourself that it's coming and it's working out starts to rewire all your thoughts about money. It lessens the worry about your $20 and consequently about money in the future. You want to notice any other thoughts that come up in regard to your $20 appearing in your life as well. Most people will try and change them in the moment. That actually creates a wrestling situation between what you are thinking and what you want to think. You don't have to do anything to fix the thoughts in that moment. You can acknowledge them, take a deep breath, and move on. If you want to, you can say something like, "I can't wait to see how this works out," or "It's going to be awesome whichever way my $20 shows up." These aren't thoughts negating the ones you're experiencing. They are opening portals of possibility. Most people put a lot of energy into trying to fix, change, or wrestle their thoughts. It's important to notice what's happening and do a small shift in focus, like I mentioned above. It's also more important to put energy into step 2, feeling your abundance feeling, and step 3, looking for and celebrating evidence. The more you occupy your brain with things you want to see and things that tell you that you're getting what you want, the less brain power you have available to have thoughts about how it's not working. There is so much power in practicing new thoughts and shifts, starting with your focus on $20. Once you've laid the groundwork by manifesting your $20, you can increase the amount and start writing an even bigger and better story. This is step 5, which is write your story from success. I'm sure you invested in this book because you wanted to change your money story. And the reason you want to change your money story is because ultimately you want more money and to experience more abundance. While it might not sound significant at first, $20 is more money. which is what you want. I know. You want lots more money. I'm teaching you how to get that. In fact, the reason most people aren't successful at changing their money stories or attracting more money into their lives is that they start too big. They jump in full force trying to become a millionaire when they haven't learned how to be 100,000 a year first. By starting with $20 in 3 days and experiencing success, you start naturally writing a new money story. When you can attract $20, you start focusing on $100 and then jump up to $10,000. From there, your story starts to write itself, and that paves the way for you to welcome more and more money into your life with ease and a money story that supports the life you want to be living. What is it going to feel like when you are living your new money story? For Nikki, writing a new money story meant she gave up the hustle. She's been able to make more money with more freedom than ever before. For Sarah, it has meant that she goes through every day like she's living on vacation. For Terry, it means she can create abundance even if her partner is a spender. For me, it has meant I could leave my corporate job, do what I love, travel, and spend lots of time with the people I love. To write a new money story, you start with a small intention and a short time frame. In this case, you set the intention to manifest $20 in the next 3 days. Next, you identify how you're going to feel when that $20 magically shows up and invest lots of time and energy into activating that feeling. Then you notice and celebrate all the evidence that what you desire is on its way. You also pay attention to the thoughts that come up that aren't positive and let them go, knowing you don't have to fix them. Then you start writing your story from success. When your $20 shows up, you tell yourself how money comes into your life easily, and you focus on how good it feels to know that money can find you. Then you increase the amount and keep adding to your amazing money story. Before we move on to the next chapter, when it's safe, I want you to write down a sentence or two as your future self about how amazing your money story is. If you happen to be driving and listening, you can just think about this. Think about a sentence or two as your future self and how amazing your money story is. Say them out loud. Did you say them? All right, now we are on chapter 6. Live the best story you can tell. This is one of my favorite sayings. It's my mantra. It's what I say in my business. It's what I teach people how to do. In the last chapter, you learned the process for changing your money story. Actually, you learned how to write a brand new money story that supports the life you want to be living. You have everything you need to start writing the best story you can tell so that you can start living the best life you can imagine. As I say it, live the best story you can tell. As I wind down this book and send you off to start writing, I want to leave you with a few more things. The first is 3 of the reasons that could keep you from successfully starting to write a new money story. The second is a good dose of belief amping. Belief amping is my term for what happens when you see other people experiencing success. In this case, drawing more money into their life. Taking note naturally and easily programs your brain to believe what you want is possible. The first thing to do to allow yourself success is for you to trust that $20 in the next 3 days is big enough to start writing a new story. Some people, and maybe it went through your head, think that there is no way something that seems so small can start to change something as big and as important as your money story. Well, setting big, crazy savings goals or vowing to take your lunch every single day or stop shopping haven't worked, have they? So why not go all in to manifesting $20 in the next 3 days? It will help you change your story about how change only comes when you do something big and painful. When you allow yourself to trust in this process, you're going to start writing the story about how money shows up easily. In fact, it starts when your $20 shows up, because when $20 just shows up in your life, you'll have made a 300+% return on your investment for this book. Have you ever received a return like that in your life before? It's possible, and you're writing the story right now. After you decide to believe that it is possible to start naturally and easily writing a new money story, decide you're not going to fall for it when your mind says it's not working, because it's bound to come up once or twice. You tend to want to take action and make it happen. However, sometimes there is literally nothing to do except enjoy your day and allow your $20 to find you. It's when you decide something isn't working that it stops working. That is because you shift your focus to looking for evidence that it's not working, and then that's all you see. When you look for evidence that it's working, that's what you'll find. So remind yourself it's working, and then look for evidence to back it up. The other thing you can do to ensure your success is to be open to the fact that you might need support. I'm 100% certain that with enough focus, you can write a new money story all on your own. There's tons of proof of that says this is possible. People read my book, Manifest 10,000, manifest $10,000, plus write new money stories without my support all the time. It's totally possible. However, everyone is different. Some people need support to write a really good story. I have clients who have done that too, and they are very happy they did. Make the commitment to yourself to write a great money story, one that supports the life you want to be living. Commit to yourself to do whatever it takes, and if you need support, get it. No one taught you how to consciously write a money story when you were younger. And now that you have the opportunity to write the best story you can tell, if you need support, go get it. Believing manifesting $20 in 3 days is enough, not letting yourself think it's not working, and being open to getting support if you need it are 3 ways you can ensure your success in writing a new money story that is full of abundance and allows you to start living the life you have been dreaming about. Chapter 7, Belief Amping. Our time together is coming to an end, and I'm going to send you off by doing one of the biggest things I know I can do to support you in writing a new, powerful money story. That is to amp up your belief in what is possible. I call this belief amping. When you flood your brain with lots of stories about money being easy, people changing their money stories, and examples of experiences you desire, it automatically starts reprogramming your brain to believe what you want is possible. Always look for stories that what you desire is possible and happens often. It will get your brain to start finding ways to create that experience for you. Let's start with Michelle. A client of mine I introduced you to in chapter 1. The title of her money story was Survival. She was raised by a single mom, then became a single mom and lived in survival mode for almost 20 years. At the time of this book, she's officially supported herself for a year after leaving her husband. While she grows, some of her survival behaviors creep up, but she catches it quickly and makes a shift because survival is no longer her story. The title of her story is now Thriving Mompreneur. During the process of working with me to write a new money story, she increased her passive income by 7 times. She's manifested over $100,000. She's empowering her daughter to write an amazing money story, and she's happier and healthier than ever. She continues to grow as a person and attract more money. You can definitely check out her full story on this podcast. Remember Maggie? Her former money story was just enough. She has been working with me for a couple of years, so her story continues to evolve. First, she manifested $20,000, more time and more freedom. Now she's taking her new money story, More Than Enough, and creating an amazing life. She manifested over $60,000 and counting the second time she took Manifest 10K, and is creating an amazing business. When she took the Change Your Money Story course, she had her biggest day ever in her business, making $2,500 in one day. You can find her story at CassieParks.com. Just look for the Year of Growth series with Maggie McReynolds. I introduced you to Nikki in chapter 2. She had the money chaser hustler story for a long time. Her new money story is abundance and worthiness. Embodying true worthiness allowed Nikki to start saying no to projects she didn't want to work on and quote her rate without wavering. She's learned to own and share all the good stuff she's creating in her life, including the additional money she is making. Nikki says, I expect the opportunities I want to come to me. As she added to her money story, Nikki gave up her hustle to focus on one thing, an amazing employment opportunity. This has created more peace and freedom in her life. You can follow her journey at CassieParks.com on the blog in the Year of Growth series. Remember Mel? Her former money story was hot mess. Her current money story is expansion always and always. Mel had already manifested a modeling career at 28, but she still had work to do in the financial area. As she wrote her new money story by manifesting $10,000, she let go of the desperation vibe at auditions and became much more selective about going to auditions. Because she has a better money story, she values herself and her time more and therefore makes more than she did in the past. She also doesn't waste her time chasing down every little possible modeling job. You can hear her full story in episode 72. Ruthie's former money story is hold tight. She originally tried to do Manifest 10K on her own and didn't complete it. By getting coaching and support and manifesting money and $100,000 of insurance coverage for free, she wrote the new money story, Money Flows to Me Easily. Living her new story means spending money is easier and investing in her savings and vacations that bring her joy feels good. Because she is letting go, more abundance is flowing into her life. You can follow her whole journey in 2019 on The More Money Show. Hold Tight was also the money story of Carrie Ann. She had to hold tight because she didn't know when the money would go away. Her money story and her behavior as a result of it made her worried a lot. She was also resentful and had a job she didn't love. Things are totally different for Carrie Ann now, whose money story is life keeps getting better and better. Her life is a reflection of her money story. She manifested a new job and she manifested $18,000 in 22 days. Her whole outlook on life is different. She is more positive and more confident. Her life feels easier and it keeps getting better and better. You can hear about her evolution in episode 105. Are you one of those people who has always dreamed big but have never known quite how to make those dreams a reality? Brandon, a realtor, was the same way. Dreaming big was never an issue for him. The problem came when he tried to figure out how to achieve everything he dreamed about. Some of those dreams were to own horses, have a vacation home in Provincetown, buying his family cabin, and traveling. He was worried he couldn't get there fast enough, like the opportunity to buy the cabin would happen before he was ready. With dreams as big as Brandon's, it was easy to become discouraged with the money story, Money Chaser. Brandon was willing to do the work. His new money story is Living My Dreams. About a year after he changed his money story, he has horses, has purchased his family cabin, owns a vacation town in Provincetown, and travels a lot. By changing his money story, he was able to step into the leadership role he needed to in his business, and it has grown into the hundreds of thousands of dollars. Brandon now believes he can make all his dreams a reality. You can hear his story on episode 90. Growing up, Jean's family had enough, but money was to be scrimped and staved. There was rarely a splurge. She had a generic Barbie, which made her feel kind of hesitant to go play with the other girls and their real Barbies. Consequently, her money story was you have to work hard for money and to make your business succeed. It has to be hard. You can tell by how long that title is that it is full of hard stuff. It also fit into the category of money chaser. Jean used to work really hard chasing money. Her new money story is Money is Fun. Can you feel how much lighter and easier her new money story must be to live? Jean is learning how to experience the fun and joy of money. Consequently, she's manifested lots of money. She's in the 100K Manifested Club, and her business is easier and more fun than ever. You can hear her whole journey at CassieParks.com in the Year of Growth series. As a young single mom, Kate used to think she had to work really hard to get a lot of money. That's what her parents did. She worked really hard in sales, and when she left her corporate job to become a health coach, she continued this pattern of working hard, aka going after the sale. Her former money story is Money Chaser, and I will tell you, we've actually figured out it is survival. Kate's new money story is Money Goddess. She believes money is attracted to her and that money is always finding fun ways to come into her life. This has shifted her perspective when it comes to getting clients. She no longer desperately seeks them out. Rather, she follows inspiration and they come to her. Because of her new money story, Kate now works less in her business. She is making more, and her business is more successful than it has ever been. Changing your money story changes the way you show up and what you attract into your life. Kate's full journey will be being documented and will be available to hear on More Money in 2019. Sarah was living a money story she titled The Struggle is Real, aka Survival. Now, the title of her money story is Live Like You're on Vacation. She had tried to change her money story before, but found when she committed to a process, Manifest 10K, it naturally changed. In fact, she manifested over $11,000 in 45 days. You can hear her interview in episode 79. Maybe you feel like you don't fit any of the money stories I mentioned in chapter 1 because you feel like the title of your story is I'm Bad with Money. That is the former self-title of Rekha's money story. While working to manifest $10,000 in 90 days, she manifested an advance on a fiction book she was going to self-publish, savings on art, and more. She also wrote a new money story titled I Can Do Anything, and you can hear her story in episode 80. Writing a new money story happens over time as you set out to manifest more and more money. With each new intention, you grow more and more, but that doesn't mean money can't or won't flow into your life quickly. Lainey participated in the Change Your Money Story Challenge video and manifested $6,000 in 5 days. You can check out this interview for inspiration. It's episode 94. One of the amazing things about writing a new money story is that you don't have to start with a negative one or feel like it's all bad. Andrew's former money story was hopeful, naturally held good expectations about money. It wasn't negative, and it did indeed help him create some success. But upgrading his story made things even better. Andrew's job is to buy cars to be resold. In his first 90 days on the job, he purchased 3. Once he started consciously writing his money story by taking the Manifest 10K course, he manifested 22 car purchases, which increased his commission by 7 times. What would your income be if it was 7 times more? You can check out his story for inspiration in episode 85. Worried that focusing on money might make you more anxious? Jenny was an exhausted money chaser. She thought she could have anything she wanted as long as she worked really hard for it. This was stressful because it was always a struggle. Nothing was easy. She grew up in a family where they didn't always have enough to eat, so she believed her money could run out at any moment. This meant she kept chasing money. Through the Manifest 10K process, she changed her money story step by step. The most valuable thing she gained from the process was less anxiety and more fun. You can learn how her story became safe to step into trust at CassieParks.com. You have the power to change your money story. The patterns that play out because there is an established money story that no longer serves can shift and change so that you can enjoy money and what it can add to your life. You know more money won't buy you happiness, but changing your money story can change your whole life, including your happiness. By writing a money story that empowers you and supports you, you will begin to naturally keep more of the money you have. Instead of working hard and feeling like you have nothing to show for it, you will feel like you have the best experiences. When an extra $1,000 shows up, nothing is going to break. Rather, you'll be able to save for that vacation you've been dreaming of taking. If you've been in survival, not only will you experience a better relationship with money, but as you write a new money story, it will automatically translate to more time and more energy. Instead of chasing money, you will write a story that money finds you, and lots of it. A new money story will also give you the power to let go and be open to bigger and better opportunities. Setting the intention to have $20 appear in your life in the next 3 days is metaphorically picking up the pen to start writing your new money story. If you pay attention and guide your story as you allow $20 to find you, you will start writing a new and improved money story. Once you have manifested $20, move on to $100. And when that is complete, open up to manifesting $10,000 in 90 days and see how your story starts to flow. If you need support with any of this or you'd like additional resources to support your journey, continue listening to this show, The More Money Show. Your dreams are possible. I know because I'm living mine. The key to living the best story I can tell was writing a new money story that supported me and opened the door to growth instead of one that fought me and kept me stuck. Everything changes when you change your money story. Let today be the first day of your new money story and the new life that goes with it. Thank you for tuning in. You can grab this book at changeyourmoneystorybook.com. I'll catch you on the next episode.
Thank you for joining us on The More Money Show. To learn more about enrolling in the Enchanted Circle, go to cassieparks.com.